Sup, ladies and gentlemen, Akalon here, and welcome back, of course, to each and every one of you, and of course, if you're new to the channel, thank you so much for joining us. I and everyone else here is very happy to have you. Today we have a very interesting video. Exorsus, the raid team that basically have become a staple within the World of Warcraft universe, and specifically with the World First races, have just announced that they are stepping back. They're stepping out of the World First race. They're basically cutting down to 2 days a week and only raiding at night. So this is a big change, and it's something that I think we have to start talking about. I try to keep my channel as free from negative content as humanly possible. I try to ignore whenever negative things happen within the World of Warcraft universe. I used to rail against the mounts in the cash shop and the mounts to the 6-month sub, and every item that gets added to the cash shop. I've stopped railing against those things because I realized that for many people this makes no difference. For many people out there, they're not worried. This is not why they come to my channel. They come to my channel because they want to escape. They want to see the lore, the story, the fantasy that is World of Warcraft. And in that regard, World of Warcraft is still my favorite game of all time because the story is so amazing. But every once in a while, there is this moment where you realize that maybe we have to talk. Maybe there are some things that needs to be discussed. Alright, so with all of that said, let's jump into this. We have the Twit Longer from Exorsus Raiding Guild, and we're going to get that into this in a moment. But before we do, I want to quickly focus on a Twit Longer from Asmongold that he made like on the 9th of May, and then he tweeted it out on the 10th. So I'm assuming he sort of did it just before 12 and then tweeted it just after 12. But I wanted to highlight one particular thing here. Not the whole thing, we're not going to go through all of it, but I wanted to highlight one particular thing. Recently, especially with the Burning Crusade announcement, along with the 9.1 PTR data mining, there has been a lot of negative sentiment in the WoW community. Today, I want to talk about that sentiment regarding where it's come from and where I think it's going. Ever since Vanilla WoW, there have always been doomsayers of the community. This is true. Burning Crusade killed WoW, Wrath of the Lich King turned the game into casual easy mode. You know what I mean, you've seen it for years, just like I have, and this is true. One of the main reasons this is true is negative content almost always clicks higher than positive content, so there is a financial incentive for YouTubers and influencers, I hate that word, but influencers, to focus on negativity, because you're almost guaranteed to get far more clicks than you would get with a positive piece. Now, this is the part that I wanted to focus on. The feedback itself is always the same and it's never different. However, the tone as of late has changed. The former passionate, righteous indignation, followed by a 2,000-word essay, has faded away and been replaced with a resigned, defeated tweet. The anger is still there, but the hope behind it has been replaced by inevitability. When World of Draenor turned out to be a disaster, the frustrations came from a place of betrayal. How could Blizzard do this to us? Why is this happening? And I do believe that Asmongold has a point in this regard. For all of us at this point, we are looking at what Blizzard is doing and saying, fine. I mean, what can you do, right? You can make a video on it, you can rail against it. At the end of the day, none of that's going to change because there is people that just doesn't care. That's just going to continue to throw money at the things that Blizzard puts on the cash shop, and the decisions that Blizzard make doesn't affect them for various reasons, by the way. I want to make this clear. This is not just something from the perspective of, say, for example, these are all shills and they just always believe that nothing Blizzard does is ever wrong. For many people, the reason they play World of Warcraft is very different. So for a lot of people, they actually play World of Warcraft because their friends are playing World of Warcraft, and World of Warcraft has just become a fun thing for them to do while they're actually hanging out with their friends, in which case Blizzard would really have to fuck up in order to convince those people that this is no longer worth and they're no longer going to keep giving Blizzard their money. Now, let's focus on Exorsus because this brings a very interesting discussion to the fore. Up until now, I have been of the belief that the casuals might eventually quit because there's not enough casual content in the game. It's one of the reasons I'm such a staunch supporter of housing in World of Warcraft, to give casuals a reason to keep logging into the game. I sort of thought that your more hardcore casual, so the casual that does raid every once in a while and does everything else in the game, they might as well quit. But I've always been sort of steadfast in my belief that the hardcore raiders and the hardcore PvPers won't quit, because for them, the content that they most care about is still very good, like the raids and the PvP. So to see Exorsus take that step back and go, we're out, is a big deal. So let's go through what Exorsus actually had to say here. After a recent discussion held within the guild, we decided to switch to an evening raiding format with 2 raid days a week. Many may be surprised by such a decision. As a raid leader and guildmaster of the Exorsus guild for 12 years, this guild has long ceased to be just a raiding place. It has become part of my lifestyle, and after weighing everything well, I concluded that this is the only way. We are one of the oldest guilds in World of Warcraft hardcore scene, and we also have probably the most stable roster. Even during the Castle Nathria progression, 12 out of 20 people who took part in our World First played with the guild for almost 5 years. For lovers of nostalgia, in some cases, we have been together with some raiders for over 10 years. During this time, the guild turned into a great community. We often met in real life, many became close friends or colleagues. Now, I do want to point out at this moment in time, before we continue discussing, he's just sort of giving backstory on what the guild is and what the guild wasn't. There used to be other guilds like this. Paragon, for example, they were one of the best guilds that ever existed for a time, and then just quit because all of them were Finnish. That was one of the main rules in the guild. You had to be Finnish, or at least be able to speak Finnish. I don't know if that's their actual language. I think it's Finnish. You just have to be able to speak the language of whatever Finland has, right? Whatever that language may be. It is Finnish. It has to be. But anyways, that was their... And they ran out of players. They just couldn't get enough players to keep the guild healthy. So they went to a 10-man raiding roster, tried to make it back to a 25-man roster, failed miserably, and then just gave up. Just realized that there's no point. So this is not necessarily a bad thing in and of itself, but among the avalanche of bad news that comes out of World of Warcraft consistently, there is a sort of foreboding. There is a sort of unease within myself that this may actually spell a lot of danger for the future of World of Warcraft. However, during this time, many of us have developed many other pursuits, commitments and hobbies, and World of Warcraft itself, unfortunately, has not shown any attempts to evolve over the past few years. I think this is something that everyone right now is complaining about. When I say everyone, I mean the majority. I don't mean everyone as in every single person, because there's obviously people that isn't complaining. But what he's saying here is very true. It's something that I've said, Balil have said, Asmongold have said on multiple occasions. You even have Towley that's pointed this out. It's the same every single expansion. Nothing ever changes. It's the same power grind that just falls off at the end of the expansion, so you don't actually feel as if you're getting stronger. You just get stronger for a single expansion, and then you get weaker again at the end of it. It's the same boring content, just sort of redressed with new rewards at the end of it. The game itself just becomes a chore that you have to do in order to do other things that may or may not be fun for you. And it becomes challenging to devote time to a game if there is nothing attractive except for raids. In this regard, such a solution looked optimal to us. This way, we can continue to enjoy the raiding and keep our roster. Of course, some of our players will continue hardcore raiding, and I will gladly recommend them to the best guilds in the world. However, some of the old players who stopped playing with us some time ago due to the inability to dedicate such serious raid time will rejoin us again. This is why we do not say goodbye. We will continue to play together. You can read literally the final lines here. I want to focus specifically on this part because it's the only part that I think is really of any value to this conversation. I see this more and more. I see more and more people in the comment section on my videos saying, I've quit WoW, I'm no longer playing WoW, but I still love the story, which is why I love your channel. Which of course I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for everyone that watches this channel, even if they don't play World of Warcraft. Maybe I actually know that I have people who's never played WoW. They've never cared about WoW. They got into the story, managed to watch a couple of my videos and just enjoy the storytelling element, I suppose, of the channel. But the most powerful line here is when he says, and it becomes challenging to devote time to a game if there is nothing attractive except for raids. And I would like to ask all of you in this instance, right here, right now, how many of you feel this in your soul? How many of you log in and find yourself sort of standing around, not really doing anything in Shadowlands, but instead going back to older content, to farm mounts, to farm pets, to farm basically anything you can get your hands on, but not really partaking in the, shall we say, current content for the game? I'd love to get your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I'd love to see where the community is at with this question, because from where I'm sitting, there's still stuff that I enjoy. So I still log in almost every single day. I just recently dinged my Demon Hunter to max level to 60, and now I've been doing about a bunch of dungeons, doing some world quests. For me, it's a way to escape. It's something that I enjoy doing. I like the mindless nature of it, just sort of hanging out and not having to think about anything while I'm watching YouTube videos or stuff like that. But it doesn't hold me for long, right? I can do that for about an hour or two, and then I just leave, and I could do something else, play another game. So for me, it's the sort of game where it's now been relegated to maybe an hour or two a day that I will log in and do a couple of things on before I get bored and I log into a different game. Because yes, there's no innovation from Blizzard's side. Every expansion, it's the same stuff, it's the same goals, it's the same chase, and every expansion, we warn Blizzard, we tell Blizzard, listen, don't do this, this is a bad move, and then finally in 0.3, so by the way, for those of you that didn't know, in 8.3 at BFA, Blizzard finally implemented things that people were telling them to implement right from the start of the game. They finally implemented, and 8.3 was actually a fun patch within Battle for Azeroth. It sort of redeemed BFA in many ways, but it of course also had problems. And at this point, I think the biggest question we have to ask ourselves, and the biggest thing that we have to come to a decision with, is first and foremost, World of Warcraft will not die. I can say that outright with no hesitation. World of Warcraft will not die. It might go through a very bad period, to the point where Blizzard doesn't have a choice but to fix it. And that could come in a myriad of ways, changing the team around, maybe, shaking things up a bit. But as long as there is enough whales that keeps the game monetizable, and as long as Blizzard can come up with more things to add to the cash shop, the game will be fine. The game will still make money. It will just not be fun for a hell of a lot of people. And that really is my biggest concern here. What happens when more guilds now come out and say, we're done. We don't want to play anymore. What then? What is the ultimate problem then? How do you fix that problem? Because once you've started to lose the hardcore players, it doesn't take long for that to start trickling down into the rest of the game. It is an ecosystem, and if you remove one portion of it, you probably run the risk of basically ruining another part. Because in any ecosystem, if something dies, it does trickle down into other systems. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you guys feel, think? Where are you on this? Let me know so that I can read and see if we're on the same wavelength, or if maybe we've sort of drifted apart and I'm saying stuff that you really do not care for and you really don't care about. So let me know in the comment section down below. As always, if you like this video, spank that like button. It really does help out the channel. You can hit the dislike button if you didn't agree with a single word that I had to say in the video. That would also be fine. And then of course, to all of the patrons, the Twitch subs, and the YouTube channel members, thank you so much for your monthly contributions. It does mean the world to me. And thanks to you guys, this channel is still growing, and it's growing stronger every single day. I quite literally wouldn't be here without you. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. You can always watch me over on Twitch. The link is in the description down below. And patrons, there's exclusive content for you waiting on Patreon, a podcast and some videos. So thank you so much for watching, guys. My name is Aklon, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.